Hey there, Internet. Got that funk here. I'm going to be flooding your inbox, I'm afraid, with a few videos today. I'm going to do a couple of video follow-ons from last night's Democracy in the USA video. This one is addressed toward the reprieve, and my next one will be addressed towards Laszlo Doe, who was kind enough to do me a dissenting video response to my video last night, Democracy in the USA. And Laszlo, despite the fact that we disagree about the Supreme Court's decision, it I think that we actually do agree on an awful lot more than one might suspect, considering that you're a conservative and I'm not. But I'm also going to be talking right now to the reprieve, who's obviously a conservative, um, and some of the comments that he left on my video last night, because I think these might be fairly common points of view in conservative circles. First of all, the reprieve asked me, do I support free speech? To which my answer was obviously yes. Then he asked me, do elected officials make laws that affect corporations? Again, I answered yes. I went on to say, I do not support corporations being given the human rights of individuals. As a religious person, I'd have thought you would agree, Jay, since the religious consider rights to have come from God. Corporations can exist because human beings create them, hence human beings may define what they may or may not do. They have no birthright because they were never born. That's the end of that comment. I'm just going to elaborate on that. Human beings are natural entities. Corporations can only be considered entities in the sense that they exist, but they're not entities in the natural sense. They don't have any natural rights. Corporations are institutions. They're instituted with rules of behavior, and we can determine what behavior is allowable and what behavior is not. Um, Now you go on to say, Jay, the representatives being elected will undoubtedly make laws that can have drastic economic impact on certain corporations. Telling that corporation to shut up and take it is just about as un-American as any ideal I've ever heard. Mate, I mean no disrespect when I say that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say. Representatives being elected make laws that affect me in my life directly, and I have to shut up and take it. I mean, I'm not allowed to smoke pot if I want to. I'm told to shut up and deal with it. When that's a no victim, no crime as far as I'm concerned. If I want to smoke pot in the United States of America and my pot smoking doesn't adversely affect the economy, it doesn't adversely affect my work, I don't drive when I'm stoned, and it doesn't adversely affect my family, why should it be illegal? The government has made it illegal. Don't tell me the government doesn't have the right to restrict behavior. That's pathetic. That you can't even, I cannot let you get away with that. Come on. And when it comes to corporations, the government has every reason to restrict what corporations can and can't do. If it didn't, where would we be with food safety? Even with the restrictions that are in place, food safety is a serious issue. What about water safety? It wasn't all that long ago that the water table was being poisoned within the laws. So don't even go down that road, Jay. I can't believe you said that. Yes, corporations have to shut up and take it. Yes, they do. Anyway, getting back to the point before, because I'm getting a bit hot. Um, when you say that groups, religions, and unions, and even corporations have the right to free speech, well, what determines the corporation's position? Is it the employees? Is it the shareholders? No, it's the board of directors. A small room full of men in suits, usually, who are going to make decisions on behalf of literally thousands of people whose opinions they have never asked. That's not democratic, it's not morally right, and quite frankly, if they come up with corporate positions based on that kind of criteria, that has no validity in a democracy. This is another good reason why I think the Supreme Court ruled the wrong way. Are you actually suggesting to me that corporations are going to ballot everybody before they take a political stance? Of course they're not. Lastly, I'm going to say that when it comes to groups like Move On or Amnesty International or the American Families Association, any other political or socially active group that you can think of. The individuals within the group have the right to free speech. The groups themselves have spokespeople who speak for the individuals only in the sense that those individuals have enabled them to do so because they join those groups for specific reasons. Someone flipping patties at McDonald's didn't flip patties at McDonald's because he believes with the ethical business practices of McDonald's. You see where I'm going? So yeah. The other thing implicit with what you've said here is that free speech shouldn't have any restrictions. Now that is obviously wrong. And if you, in an ideal world, it might seem, that we shouldn't have any restrictions on free speech, but think about it. We're already not free to say certain things. You cannot go into a concert or a movie theater and shout fire at the top of your lungs. You can't go on television at 7 o'clock in the evening on broadcast TV and say, I want to rip your eyeballs out and skull fuck you until jism comes out of your ears. Somehow I think that would get censored. There's loads of things you can't say. You can't use your free speech to incite riots. So free speech does have limits, and it's right that it does so. Other countries limit free speech more than America. In some cases I agree with there are limits, in some cases I don't. For example, in Austria, it is illegal to wear any part of clothing that has a swastika on it. I disagree with that. I don't think that the symbol itself has any inherent danger, although I understand why the law exists. In France, when it comes to elections and stuff, and please, if there's any French viewers that can correct me on this, but I think I'm right in saying in France, the press is not allowed to report poll results from polling from 2 weeks before an election up until after the election day. So freedom of the press and freedom of speech has been limited there in the interests of the democratic process. I think it makes sense. They can still take polls. Polling companies can still do the polls. The press just can't report the results. And I think, when it comes to election cycles, we can all look back at the last election and, the polling going up and down all the time is interesting. But the closer it gets to an election, the more detrimental it is to the democratic process. For reasons that I hope are obvious. So therefore, I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, Jay, I just wanted to give you some of that to chew on. I hope that you can find the time to do a video response to this. I know later on in comments you said that you weren't necessarily for this decision, but you thought that the Supreme Court couldn't have ruled in any other way. I would suggest to you, as well as to Laszlo, that when the decision is 5-4, the court could have easily ruled the other way. It is obviously not clear-cut in the law, or it would have been a larger majority. Right. Thank you for watching and thank you for your patience. Sorry I got a bit hot under the collar, but this issue is really important to me. This has Got That Funk saying, may all your ups and downs be ups, and always question authority.